Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Mildred. And Mildred's down here somewhere running around, doing her usual thing. Whenever I do these videos, she wants to play catch from this location. Don't you, honey? Come here. Come here, say hi. There she is. Yes. And we're here with reference recordings. And today we're going to be talking about, go ahead, tell them what it is. No, you're not excited? All right, I'll put you down. We'll play fetch. Then we'll do the reference recording. Here you go. Got it. Go get it. There we are. The Liszt Sonata in B minor. It's got to be. Yes, how exciting. And the reference recording. Well, the reference recording. Oh my, how many reference recordings can there be? Well, there's only one. There was always only one. Richter on Philips in those days, Decca here, and on CD it's coupled with the two piano concertos conducted by Kirill Kondrashin. And these actually concerto performances were interesting because they were Mercury Living Presence productions, if I'm not mistaken. They were done for Philips, but the engineers were, originally recorded for Philips by Mercury Records, and they were remastered by Wilma Cozart Fine and Robert Fine. Yeah. Anyway, but we're not talking about the concertos, are we? That'll be a subject for another day. We're talking about the Sonata in B minor. Now, I have been hesitant. I'm always hesitant to do piano music, not because I don't know what the reference recordings are. I do. And if I don't, I always have Jed to talk to about, so I know I'll get the best possible advice from a total piano maven. No, the problem is that the piano people are nuts, as we know. And whenever I do a piano thing, they all come chiming in with their absolutist statements. Whoa, it has to be this. No, it has to be that. Whoa, it's got to be this. And that, in addition to the fact that, as some of you have pointed out, those of you who understand what we're doing with these reference recordings, we always get this folderol about what a reference recording is. It's not your favorite. It's what a normal person would have purchased as the best consensus pick. And that's it's a nuance. I understand. It's a nuance. But what happens, and I know what happens, I know that this happens, is that people see what the reference recording is and they look at it, but they don't watch the video. They don't even bother. And then they just comment, blap. Oh, I love this. No, I love that. No, I love this. Well, look, as I have said a million times, this is what would happen when I, little old me at the age of 10 or 15, playing piano, which I did, and I was horrible at it, but I did it. And if you watch the video I made with my mother, we all talk about how bad we were at playing the piano. But that is what I would have gotten if I went into my wonderful local record store, say Cutler's, for example, and asked Sam, who smoked the unfiltered cigarettes and, had a very strange accent, and asked Sam, what recording should I get of the Liszt Sonata? And he would say, oh, well, if it's your first one, you have to have Richter. That's all. That's the reference recording. And of course it is, because it's wonderfully played, it's brilliantly played, and it gives you everything you always wanted in a Liszt Sonata, but were afraid to ask, and really teaches you the piece while rewarding you with a wonderful interpretation. Now, not all reference recordings do that, and this is not even my favorite performance, not by a long shot. My favorite recording is Claudio Arrau, maybe followed by Martha Argerich, for two completely different interpretations in terms of volatility and approach to piano sonority. But Richter is Richter, and he's pretty terrific. And this is one of those iconic pieces about which everybody has an opinion. And back in the 60s and 70s, and this was recorded, when was this recorded? 1961, I guess it was. It seems to be. Richter's studio output compared to his live stuff is rather small compared to, everyone just followed him around, it seemed, with microphones and recorded everything he ever touched. And he didn't particularly care whether they did or didn't. So it's valuable for that reason, because it's really a performance that was recorded under optimal conditions. And I find it to be very, very powerful. It's a powerful, somewhat gaunt, I love the word, gaunt view of the work, sober. The virtuosity is completely sublimated to the overall structural integrity of the work, if you know what I mean. I don't even know what that means, but that's what he does. I wonder if it says where this was recorded. I don't know. No, it doesn't say a word about it. Of course not. Why would they tell us? That would be far too. Let's see. Let me see here. These are. No, he doesn't say. I can't believe they don't document or tell you anything about this stuff. It's so. Go figure. All right, never mind. The bottom line, maybe it's on the disc here. No, it's not on the disc. The bottom line is that it's an absolutely marvelous recording of one of the iconic pieces of piano writing. I mean, for years and years and years, I have to confess, I didn't like this piece very much. I found it to be sort of melodically, for its length, to be a little bit melodically impoverished, shall we say. It's all so based on the same basic ideas. But then you begin to realize just how marvelously it's put together. And what matters so in these pieces isn't so much, how lovely the themes are, but what Liszt does with them, the transformations he wrings on them. And this is a performance that brings that out with remarkable clarity. And by the way, if you're a Sibelius fan and you like Kullervo, and you listen to the second movement, that's Kullervo's Youth, the second theme, da 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 da, well, it comes right out of here, because Sibelius was a big Liszt guy, and one of his best buds in Helsinki, when he was back in Helsinki, was Busoni, who was living in Helsinki at the time, who was an even bigger Liszt guy. So yeah, bits of the sonata sort of crept in there, very interestingly, I think. But really, it's an amazing work. And Richter was an amazing pianist. And you didn't have to be a Richter groupie to be told that if you were trying to get yourself into Liszt and learn the sonata and figure out what it was doing, then Richter was your guy. Now, today, we always talk about new reference recordings. How many recordings of the Liszt Sonata have there been since? I mean, back in the 60s, it was still considered to be one of the more outre works in the repertoire. It was a little bit marginal. It was only played by the biggest, most serious virtuosi and recorded by them even less frequently. And nowadays, people just toss it off after lunch. It's like, Liszt Sonata time. It's done. It's really kind of amazing. It's become just standard stuff, and we don't really admire anymore its difficulty, its marvelous construction, its genius, single movement, magnificent single movement architecture. It somehow just doesn't have the luster it had back in the days. And for that reason, possibly also, it's impossible to put your finger on a new reference recording, one that would be the obvious recommendation today, because instead there would be a whole slew of them. I mean, what would you do? Yes, there's a Raoul, there's Argerich, there's Marc-Andre Hamelin, there's all those young competition winners who just blow through the piece as if it's nothing. And I miss the time when the piece really projected that sort of sense of struggle and the respect that was given the artists who managed to play it with distinction. Richter is certainly one of those. And so there you have it, my friends. The reference recordings, Sviatoslav Richter. You can't go wrong. You really can't. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.